A sudden, silent removal just sent shockwaves through the estate. Eugenie's highly influential role at Charles's foundation has been abruptly terminated, completely wiped away without a single public explanation. The mainstream media is scrambling to call it a natural end, but a deep, toxic shadow has quietly fallen over Kensington Palace. There is an explosive secret buried in the timeline of this sudden exit, one that directly ties into a massive, unannounced government trap closing in on her private home. You will want to stay until the very last second of this video, because the final piece of evidence we uncover changes everything you think you know about this family's future. If you love diving deep into the secrets the headlines try to hide, hit that subscribe button right now and join our circle for the ultimate truth. The official narrative fell apart the moment the papers were signed. Reports suggest that Eugenie was completely caught off guard when her influential position at Charles's foundation vanished in an instant. On the surface, the palace put out a polished statement claiming her contract simply reached its natural end. But insiders say a much darker reality was playing out behind the scenes. The timeline of her sudden departure just doesn't add up. She was appointed to mentor top global leaders in fashion and architecture, a role meant to solidify her standing at the very center of the institution. Yet, less than a year later, she was gone. Rumors indicate that she didn't walk away by choice. Instead, the toxic cloud surrounding her father, Andrew, had finally trickled down, making her presence an absolute liability. But this wasn't just a minor corporate snub. It was a calculated, quiet removal designed to distance the foundation from the ongoing York family controversies. It is claimed that senior officials grew deeply uncomfortable with the optics of keeping her on the payroll, while the public demand for financial transparency reached a boiling point. They needed her out, and they needed it done without causing a media frenzy. She thought sacrificing her career would be enough to satisfy the critics and protect her family's peace. She was wrong, because losing her dream job was actually the least of her worries. The true nightmare was brewing outside the palace walls, where an unannounced government trap was about to lock onto the one place she felt safest. The investigation isn't about Andrew anymore. A massive shift has occurred, and a powerful government committee has quietly turned its sights toward Eugenie and her sister, Beatrice. According to sources, the Public Accounts Committee, alongside the National Audit Office, has launched an aggressive, unannounced probe into residential leasing arrangements. They are systematically targeting the high-value properties occupied by members of the family who do not even perform official duties. This isn't a routine housekeeping check. It is a full-scale public accountability exercise, and the timing could not be worse. Beatrice, operating out of St. James's Palace, and Eugenie, living inside Ivy Cottage at Kensington Palace, are now sitting directly in the crosshairs. Insiders say neither sister ever saw this coming. They are not accused of any wrongdoing, but the financial mechanics keeping them inside these elite properties are now under intense legal scrutiny. The committee chairman is already on the record demanding total transparency and value for the taxpayer. Rumors indicate that investigators are pulling at financial threads that have remained hidden for generations. For decades, the institution used these luxury, low-cost leases to keep the extended family close, loyal, and financially dependent. Now, that entire secret system is being exposed to the harsh light of a public audit. Every single lease is being picked apart, dollar by dollar, and the pressure is building to an absolute breaking point. No individual exceptions are being made, regardless of who lives inside the walls. The sisters are realizing that their entire way of life is built on shifting sand. And the absolute worst part? The sudden catalyst that triggered this terrifying chain reaction traces back to a single greedy deal they had absolutely nothing to do with. The entire crisis exploded from a single toxic deal that was never supposed to face public scrutiny. According to official documents, the immediate trigger for this aggressive government raid on property records is the deeply controversial arrangement surrounding Andrew's residency at Royal Lodge. The paper trail reveals that, back in 2003, Andrew signed a highly unusual, watertight 75-year lease contract with the Crown Estate. Under the precise terms of that 2003 agreement, he was required to make a one-off payment of just £1 million to secure the 30-room Windsor mansion, alongside a promise to spend £7.5 million up front on necessary refurbishments. But what has truly ignited public fury is the hidden rent clause. For over 2 decades, the contract allowed him to pay absolutely nothing in traditional monthly rent, operating under a legal loophole known as a peppercorn lease, where the annual rent is listed as a single symbolic coin if demanded. Insiders say that what was meant to be a private, long-term deal quickly morphed into a massive public liability. When the parliamentary spending watchdog, known as the Public Accounts Committee, officially intervened, the fallout began to ripple outward. Investigators demanding total transparency did not just stop at the front door of Royal Lodge. Instead, the entire 75-year contract structure began to unravel. The investigation quickly widened into an absolute dragnet, forcing officials to audit every single residential arrangement on the estate to see if taxpayers are being shortchanged. It is claimed that senior politicians are no longer willing to look the other way regarding low-cost, elite housing. While Eugenie and Beatrice have done absolutely nothing wrong, the strict categories of this massive audit offer no safety nets for family members. The government is demanding absolute public justification for every square inch of subsidized space, leaving no room for individual exceptions. The 2003 contract practically ruined the sweet deals for the rest of the family, and the timing could not be more devastating for Eugenie. Because while politicians are picking apart these estate leases, a deeply stressful personal crisis is unfolding right now inside the walls of her own cramped cottage. The walls are quite literally closing in on Eugenie at the absolute worst possible moment. While government investigators tear apart the estate's financial records, a private space crisis is unfolding inside her home. Reports suggest that Ivy Cottage, her residence on the Kensington Palace grounds, is officially at its breaking point. The property has only 3 bedrooms, which by any practical measure is already completely maxed out for a family of 4. But here is the twist that changes everything. Eugenie is currently pregnant with her 3rd child. By the time the new baby arrives, a family of 5 will be crammed into a space that simply cannot support them. Rumors indicate that behind closed doors, intense logistical planning had been underway to fix this exact problem. The family's plan was to secure an immediate upgrade to a much larger, vacant property within the royal portfolio. Insiders claim they had their sights set on a grander apartment inside Kensington Palace or a larger estate property nearby, which would finally give her sons, August and Ernest, and the new baby their own rooms. Usually, these transitions happen quietly, smoothed over by institutional goodwill and family connections. But that traditional escape route has just been completely blocked. Because the Public Accounts Committee is actively scrutinizing the exact mechanism used to grant these property upgrades, any sudden move into a larger, multi-million-dollar royal home would trigger an absolute media firestorm. Politicians are demanding to know why individuals who do not perform official public duties are receiving subsidized elite housing. For Eugenie, the timing is a logistical nightmare. She is facing a looming deadline with a growing family, a cramped cottage, and a legal wall blocking her from getting more space. With her London paradise turning into a financial trap, insiders say she is looking closer at a secret backup plan, an escape route that takes her completely out of the country. The escape hatch has already been built, and it sits thousands of miles away from the London drama. Reports suggest that as the financial pressure mounts inside Kensington Palace, Eugenie is increasingly preparing to trigger a permanent exit strategy. For the past few years, she and her husband have quietly been splitting their time between the UK and the ultra-exclusive Costa Terra Golf and Ocean Club in Portugal. This European retreat was originally just a convenient setup for her husband's high-end real estate career. But insiders say it has rapidly transformed into a vital sanctuary. Nestled securely along the pristine Atlantic coast just south of Lisbon, the multi-million-dollar estate offers a level of privacy that London simply cannot provide. More importantly, it sits entirely outside the jurisdiction of aggressive British parliamentary watchdogs. The contrast between the two lives is stark. In London, every single square foot of her 3-bedroom cottage is being picked apart by hostile public audits. In Portugal, she has access to sprawling luxury, sun-drenched beaches, and total freedom from the toxic legacy surrounding her family name. Rumors indicate that if the ongoing investigation forces a hostile rent renegotiation or makes her housing status completely untenable, the family is fully prepared to pack their bags for good. They have a beautiful, pre-established life waiting for them on the continent, completely insulated from the heavy political crosswinds of Westminster. It represents the ultimate backup plan, an intentional exit that allows them to abandon the crumbling system before it forces them out. Yet, turning their backs on London completely means walking away from a massive public illusion they have spent the last several months carefully constructing. The entire public comeback was an illusion, and the mask is officially slipping. For months, Eugenie and her sister Beatrice have been engineering a flawless, highly calculated return to positive public visibility. According to sources, every high-profile party appearance, every glamorous night out at exclusive spots like Oswald's, and even the carefully timed family announcements were part of a coordinated strategy. They were trying to show the world that the family was thriving, unified, and completely disconnected from past scandals. But behind the smiles and the designer dresses, the foundation was already crumbling. Insiders say they were desperately trying to build a wall of positive PR before the government's financial trap could snap shut. They successfully secured warm, public messages of delight from the palace regarding Eugenie's third pregnancy, sending a clear signal that they were still deeply valued by the institution. Yet, while the palace was busy projecting harmony, an entirely separate branch of the government was quietly sharpening its knives. The strategy was working perfectly with the public, but politicians do not care about positive headlines. Reports suggest that no amount of glamorous visibility can protect them from the cold reality of a public audit. The warm statements and high society events were meant to pave the way for a smooth, permanent reincorporation into the core of the family. Instead, the sudden property dragnet has turned their carefully built empire into a massive liability. They thought they could outrun the shadow of the family's past by simply staying beautiful and relevant. They were wrong. The political pressure building in Westminster is moving far faster than their PR team can handle. Eugenie now finds herself caught in an impossible vice, trapped between a looming personal deadline and a brutal institutional shift. What do you think is the real motive behind this sudden housing dragnet? Is the government genuinely looking out for the taxpayers, or is this a calculated move to completely clean house? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single one. If you want to stay ahead of the headlines and uncover the truth before it gets scrubbed, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Thank you so much for watching, and we promise to keep bringing you the absolute latest updates as this story continues to unfold.